Hey everybody, thanks for joining our session about developer productivity with the SAP Cloud Application Programming Model and AI. My name is Kunz. I work for the SAP Cloud Application Programming Model as an architect for the Node.js runtime environment.
Yeah, and my name is Birgit Selbach. I'm responsible for product enablement for Business Application Studio.
All right, I would say let's dive right in. So in the big picture of our business technology platform, we're at the bottom left, application development, to build and to innovate. So what is the SAP Cloud Application Programming Model? And from now on, I just say CAP. So it's a framework of languages, libraries, and tools for you and us at SAP to build enterprise-grade services and applications. We guide developers along a golden path with proven best practices, and we try to solve those tedious recurring tasks, and we have generic runtimes to do that. The projects developed with CAP, they benefit from the fact that they can actually focus on their domain to solve the business problem. They get accelerated development speed at minimized costs, and we safeguard investments because we all know that the cloud is changing rapidly. So in the sea of technology, in the end, what you want to do is to solve an actual business problem. You want to concentrate on your business services. So at CAP, we make this possible so you can focus on it, to develop it, run it, and also test it. So I want to introduce CAP level service interfaces. So your typical CAP application usually consists at the top of a UI, for example, UI5 or SAP Fiori Elements, and it talks via OData to your CAP service, and the CAP service itself can then talk via SQL with databases, for example, SAP HANA. Now, apart from these protocols, we also support a lot more. For example, plain REST services with the Open API specification, GraphQL, and also HCQL, which is a kind of CAP-centric protocol where we can exchange SQL and objects. We also support asynchronous protocols, for example, webhooks and AMQP connections using the Async API. But in the end, you want to solve a business problem. So talking in a protocol layer is a bit too low level. So in the end, you want to consume services. So we support a lot of platform services. For example, your app can run on Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes and Kima. We support authentication, logging, tracing, monitoring, different message brokers, audit logging, data privacy, notifications, attachments, analytics, and also SAP Datasphere. All right, now with CAP level service interfaces, what we try to achieve is to minimize your total costs of development and operations, and we want to give you, or ownership, and we want to give you an accelerated development time at minimized costs. So we want to have an evolution without disruption, so your investments are safeguarded. The approach that we chose is to provide CAP plugins. Plugins are a plug-and-play installation with zero or near zero configuration effort on your side. They will be co-developed by us, the CAP teams, as well as the SAP service teams. We try to release it as open source packages whenever this is possible. And we provide a Capire-style documentation, including also samples. And the principle is always CAP first. It must be as easy to use it in a CAP application as possible. And many of the techniques which we use in those plugins you already know from your typical CAP application. For example, we support CDS annotations, so you can provide more context, more information to your data model without any coding. We support CAP Service API, so you have a consistent programming model for programmatic usage, which is also able to be mockable wherever possible. So I'd give you two examples of such service interfaces. One is the notification service. So without these plugins, you would usually spend 3 to 6 months of development writing more than 1,000 lines of code where you care about deployment, internationalization, resilience, connectivity, principal propagation, each customer on their own. That is not great. So with CAP level interfaces, you just install the plugin. You declare your notification template in this example, and you can use it programmatically. Takes about 5 minutes with less than 10 lines of code, a lot better. The other example, attachment, on the left, before, usual thing, 3 to 6 months development effort, thousands of lines of code. You have to take care of streaming upload requests, integrating with S3, virus checking, preventing denial of service attacks, principal propagation, and again, each customer on their own. That's not great. So on the right, with CAP-level service interfaces, you install the plugin, add the attachment type to your entity, add an upload control, and you're done. 10 minutes of code, 10 minutes with 0 lines of code. All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about AI. So the status quo as of today is you need developers. You need developers to write your CDS data model. So you need a CAP domain expert. You need experts for UI annotations in order to have a Fiori Elements UI. So you need a SAP Fiori Elements domain expert, and you need test data, which is usually quite tedious to create. And all of that just to get the first prototype running. That's a lot of effort. Now, introducing Joule, or one functionality of Joule. So what it allows you to do is to provide a description of your data model, and then Joule will automatically generate various CDS and CAP artifacts, for example, the CDS schema, service projections, UI annotations, and even sample data. So in the end, you have a running Fiori Elements application without writing any code, just the description of a data model. So just to give you an example of how such a description could look like and what the task is of this machine. So in here, you create an app with entities, order, and order item. I'm not going to read everything. So what the machine needs to understand is it needs to digest the text and create the corresponding CAP artifacts. For example, entities order means create entity order. Has many order items means, okay, it is a composition of many order items with an appropriate on condition. Refers to a product in CAP speech means association to product. Has field quantity means quantity of type integer. And you can also offload some more creative aspects to the LLM. You can say, okay, I want to have 5 realistic properties, and then the large language model under the hood, Joule, will create more properties by itself. In addition to that, we also apply some heuristics. For example, always add this UUID key, which is better for typical Fiori Elements applications. The file structure is fixed, and also the UI annotations are chosen in a way that it makes sense and that it actually works. So the challenges with this approach, obviously, is that we have to map your intent to software artifacts. And the problem is software artifacts always have boundary conditions. So we need to apply reasonable heuristic, which means that the final result may not exactly what you like, but at least it will definitely work. And that's exactly what developers do today. Now with AI, we can turbocharge your prototyping and also democratize application development. Now handing over to Birgit.
Thank you, David. Yeah, let me show you how we can support you in doing so. Probably, or perhaps some of you still remember that last year at TechEd we released SAP Build, which is our low-code offering allowing our customers to create apps, automate processes, design business sites, and everything with drag and drop simplicity. Now, and this is the big news of this TechEd, for our pro-code developers, we are announcing SAP Build Code, a solution for generative AI-powered application development. But what exactly is SAP Build Code? Well, SAP Build Code provides you a turnkey environment for coding, testing, integrations, and application lifecycle management. And you will see in our demo later that you can build rapidly with AI code generation from natural language descriptions with the Joule Copilot that David just mentioned. SAP Build Code simplifies developer activities through guided experiences and pre-built templates. The solution is tailored for SAP development, and it comes with pre-built integrations to SAP and non-SAP systems. It's built on SAP BTP and benefits from many proven BTP capabilities, including, for example, trusted security. SAP Build Code supports extensibility for SAP S/4HANA and other systems to really meet your needs. And if you're interested in the topic of extensibility, my colleague Anna-Maria Möll and I have a talk on that topic later today. In addition, SAP Build Code supports enhanced fusion development, which means that you can collaborate between or with other professional developers and also with citizen developers. Yeah, development with SAP Build Code is happening in SAP Business Application Studio, which is providing you code and visual editors for data models and web and mobile development. Data model services. Sorry for that. There you have all the tools that easily let you use all of the app services like CAP, UI5, Fiori Elements, mobile services, and document management. And SAP Build Code combines the most essential cloud services from SAP BTP with our SDKs. As a developer, you probably know that writing code can sometimes be hard, and even as an experienced developer, you probably every once and then have to check the documentation. And we now support you. As David already explained, we now offer you support with an AI assistant which helps you with auto-generation of the application logic, data model, services. It also supports you with unit testing, and all that is done with contextual code generation based on prompts. And I can imagine that you would really love to see how this looks like, and therefore let's now jump into our live demo. Give me just a second so that I can jump to our Business Application Studio. Sorry for that. Okay, so here we are. So what you see here is our SAP Business Application Studio, and I already prepared for you an empty project. And as you can see, this is currently containing no data models, no services, so simply a completely empty project. Now we can see everything. Let's now jump into our Guide Center. Here we offer you support for many different tasks, and one is the generative AI-powered development. And as you can see, this is what I just mentioned in the talk, that we support you with data model service creation, sample data, application logic, unit testing. And we start with the data model creation, and we now open our AI assistant Joule and ask Joule to create us an app with orders, including order items, and so on. So just the example that David explained before. So let's now ask Joule to really start. And what is happening now is that Joule is interpreting our input. And that takes a couple of seconds, but then you will see that we get a result back. Okay, so let me perhaps enhance that a bit so that we can better see it. Okay, you can see here that we have the orders, order item, products, so just what we would like, and that looks actually pretty good for me, so I accept that, and by that it directly gets transferred into my data model and services, and can have a look into that, so containing also all the properties, and even some sample data have already been created. So you see that this is really, really fast, done within only a couple of seconds. And let's also jump into the annotation CDS file. Yeah, I think pretty impressive. So lots of code, and yeah, you mentioned it, David, usually it takes some time if you want to write that on your own.
Yeah, and I can never remember those, so it's good that it gets generated.
Yeah, I think that is really helpful for us. Okay, then let's jump back to our guide. And next step, it says, as we already did data model creation, sample creation, that we now can also get support with creating the application logic. You see here that the guide really runs us through the tasks, tells us exactly what needs to be done. So I'm simply following the guide. As the next step, I add the logic and add a description. I want to have an application logic for the create and update events. And now I can open the code editor. And here it says me, okay, if you want to create the application logic, this is also AI enabled. Let me quickly close those to free up a bit of space so that you can better see it. So what's happening now is that at the same time my editor opens for the orders logic.js file, currently with an empty function, and Joule wakes up again. And as you can see, this is really context sensitive. It realizes you are creating now the application logic, and it has already taken the description that I provided in when creating the skeleton for this. So I accept that, and again, Joule is coming back with a result, and let's now check this. Well, I'm enhancing it a bit more. So yeah, it gave me back a result. What do you think of that? Can we accept it? Should we improve it? I would say let's improve it a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it works at a first glance. There are a few things I would like to change. For example, I don't like that it throws an error. I'd rather have it use the request reject method with an appropriate status code of 400. That's a bit nicer for the end user. And I don't like that it selects the data sequentially. We can select it also using promise all. Yeah, so maybe let's just do this. There are a few other things which I don't like, but it's fine.
Yeah, let's start with this. So I asked Joule to please improve using the request reject and promise all.
And also maybe only the columns it actually needs, because at the moment it selects too much.
And select only the needed
columns. Exactly. Let's see.
Okay, let's see what it gives us back. So again, it takes some time to interpret. And we got a result back. So what do you think? We have to request reject. We have to promise all. But
yeah, I think it's better. Let's just accept it.
Should we accept it? Let's simply give it a try. And now another interesting functionality comes into the game. Business Application Studio offers us the possibility to simply preview what we did. So we ask it to run and debug. And by that, preview is generated, which is live reload enabled. So if we want to change later on things within our coding, that directly makes it into our application. So it takes a moment. Okay, here we are. So let's now check that. So we have here our orders with the sample data that we created. And let's take one and check if we change that, what happens. So increase the quantity, we take a really high value, and now let's see what happens. Okay, this is not what I expected, so let's jump back into our code and see, this is just what we meant. It's prototyping. So let's jump back and check if we can see what we need to change. So, what does it say?
Okay, so in line 12, there's an error.
12. Let's jump into that.
Yes. So the result of select one is an object. So you would need to change this one to an object instead of an array. Yeah. So you just change the brackets to curly braces, and or just say const product equals to the thing. Then it should
simply remove the brackets.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let's try it out. So that now takes us a moment. Okay, currently this is not working. Let's do something else. Let's stop the preview and let's simply try it again to make sure that nothing is cached that we don't want to have there. Okay, so here we are again. Let's see. Okay, edit again. Oh, see, that solved our issue. But to be honest, I'm still not 100% satisfied.
Yeah, the error message could be improved,
is not really helpful. So I would say let's quickly also improve our error message, telling us improve something about the stock quantity. So let's do that. Oh, sorry, typo, don't want to. Yeah, usually you would like to know your stock quantity and don't want to guess. So let's check if it helps if we improve that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see stock quantity. Simply quickly check it. Okay, now we also have the stock quantity in here.
But careful, you would need to change. Yeah, you can accept.
Let's accept that, and then we have to change the brackets again.
They did this typo again.
So we take that, and then again, somehow this is cached. So I would say again, let's start the run and debug, and then I hope that then this time this is what we need. Let's see. I'm curious.
I'm confident.
Yeah, you know it. So. Okay, that looks already pretty good. So, save it. Stop.
Great.
See, now we have it. Well, I'm satisfied with that. Should we keep it?
We can keep it.
Perfect.
That's nice.
Great. So then we are done with the demo.
Let's come to the Q&A, I would say.
Great.
Live Q&A.
All right, so we have a few questions. Let me read them. When to choose CAP over RAP? If we need to build custom applications in SAP BTP, is there guidelines when to choose what? Well, I would say it mostly depends on your developer skills. So if you have a lot of, let's say, people in the Node.js or Java ecosystem who are super experienced there, then you can choose CAP. But if you already have a lot of ABAP expertise, then obviously you can choose RAP. So it's completely up to you what you would like to use. Of course, there are also some technical differences. So with CAP, you usually create, let's say, more like these smaller services. So RAP services are usually a bit bigger, but it's really up to you. Okay. Then the next question, can I dynamically bind service or does it always need generation step? So I'm not sure what you mean with bind services. I guess you want to bind external services. So we already have command line tools to do that. So if you want to, for example, connect a HANA database to your application, we have the CDS bind command to, from your Cloud Foundry environment, retrieve the necessary credentials and then plug it into the CAP application so it can automatically connect it. So there's no need for Gen AI in that case because our tools, which we did using conventional programming, are already powerful enough for you to support you in this use case. All right, so let's go to the last question. Is MongoDB supported as a backend? No, so the databases which we currently support are SAP HANA, also Postgres, SQLite for local development, and in Java also H2, but no MongoDB. But you can already plug in your own database if you want to and connect to it using custom code. That's always possible. We are quite extendable, but then you are on your own and you would need to take care of the statements you send to the database. All right, then I would say let's wrap it up. So thank you very much for watching and have fun with all the other sessions.
Yeah, thank you.